Police for being here to look after us. Thank you very much to CST for being here to look after us. And thank you to all of the CAA stewards and team. But thank you most of all, I think, to the person who is most responsible for bringing us here this evening. And that's David Collier. Let's have a thank you for David Collier. I'm very pleased to tell you David's here tonight and he's going to be talking about his investigation. I think many of us are wondering, how is it possible that yet again David Collier has managed to figure out something that the BBC weren't able to figure out themselves? Do we put it down to incompetence? I'm not sure we're that generous. Is it incompetence that this is down to?
Racism! Antisemitism!
Terrorist supporters off our screens!
Supporters off our street!
Terrorist supporters off our screens!
The supporters off our screen!
BBC, come clean!
BBC, come clean!
BBC, come clean!
BBC, come clean!
Terrorist supporters off our screens!
Terrorist supporters off our screens! Stop funding Hamas! Yes!
Friends, we'll be starting just in a couple of minutes. We're doing some final setup, and I'm very pleased to see that we're already out into the road. If there's anybody who wants to make a little bit of space for those who are coming here. Yeah, I've just seen Kurpa's taken down her sign, but is it a sign that she holds up all the time? Whose sign was it? Come and bring it up here. I think everybody should see that sign. So Kurpa is one of the heroes who are here from a group called Our Fight. What's it say on the sign?
Hamas are terrorists.
Hamas are terrorists.
You all right there,
I'm
mate?
sure you've seen Kurpa being harassed with that sign. You've seen people like Niak who have been harassed by that with that sign. In fact, Niak has, how many times has Niak been arrested now? It's definitely more than 7. It's appalling. But one of the things that I find most appalling is that Kurpa knows that Hamas are terrorists. What do the BBC call Hamas?
Freedom fighters!
Hamas are terrorists! Say the words!
Hamas are terrorists! Hello, mate.
Hamas are terrorists!
Come outside.
Thank you very much. Kurpa, thank you, and thank you to all of you and everyone at Our Fight who's constantly out there fighting for all of us. Thank you. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Good evening, everybody. It's Brexit Brian. I'm outside the BBC. I'm outside the BBC Portland Place. I'm with several hundred supporters, people who believe that the BBC are prejudiced in their interpretation of what's been going on in the Gaza Israeli situation. So there's a very large gathering here. It's loads and loads of British and Israeli flags. It's a noble cause. The BBC are definitely discriminating, and these people are here to highlight that. Can you see that banner in front of me? BBC spokespeople for terrorists.
Come outside.
So I've managed to get myself right at the front. This is quite a crowded little spot here.
She's just now across the
Show you around, take you around.
And he's with Street Mike. Big up Brexit Brian. Big
Oh,
up
come
Brian.
on, he wants to get his face in, he does. Come on,
My face is everywhere. They know me around the world. Big up.
And good man, and he's a good man as well.
Allegedly.
Speaker's Corner fame.
Oh, Speaker's Corner. Where's that? I wish I didn't know where it was.
No? 2? Hello? Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, Alan, that's exactly what they are. BBC liars.
121222.
I discovered they were liars when the Brexit referendum occurred.
2222. Huh? Hello, mic check 12. 121212.
Hi, Roberto.
122222.
I've got no concern about being cold here. I'm pressed up against a lot of bodies.
It's too loud. Shall I put it down?
There must be a good 1,000 people in a very, very small space.
Hello, mic check. Nothing over there.
I didn't know about this till you sent the thing this morning. Because I was busy, man.
Right.
So I was just saying thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No, it's just that obviously
Yeah.
my source.
Agree on that. Yeah.
I mean,
Street light.
oh, street mic. I'm filming for Facebook. Yeah, I don't know if you've gathered, but I'm pro-Israeli. I know this woman over a year and a half now. We've been going on marches. Yeah. Well, you must have seen me. Mind you, I normally wear my kind of face covering, so. Oh, okay. Well, he's just said street mic. He's a good man.
Yeah, I can see that. He's here, isn't he?
He films for the Tommy team and everything.
Good for him. I went to one of his protests.
I don't want to upset him. He's a bit bigger than me.
See the abuse I get? Everywhere I go, I get abuse.
This is the one you've got to watch. He's the quiet one.
Hello, mic check 121222.
I'm live here, sir.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hello.
I didn't hear that.
Hello.
I'm surprised you're not using what you call it.
I've always
Can't be bothered.
when I get a bit when arthritis kicks in, I'll use a stick.
Listen, man, I got arthritis in my knees, man. You wouldn't believe that, would you?
Okay, so welcome everybody. It's Brexit Brian. I'm live outside the BBC. I'm here with several hundred people who are very angry with the BBC for their interpretation of the situation between Palestine and the Palestinians and the Israelis. These people feel that the BBC are siding with the Palestinians in their interpretation of events.
I can't hear you. We're at a BBC protest.
So I'm here to film. This is the BBC headquarters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portland. Or one of them. Remember, they got about 3-4 in it.
Yeah, I can smell the drains. I thought that was Alan there for a moment.
What, drone?
No, that guy there. The one with the glasses there.
He looks like him.
He does, doesn't he? I was almost about to say hello, Alan.
Oh, should I ring him? See where he is?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to you. I haven't got his number, so I can't ring him.
It's a him now.
Please don't forget to share, folks. Please share. Share it to your groups, share it to your friends. The BBC themselves probably won't report this.
I hope you don't mind me.
No.
Thank you all very much for your patience.
Feel free to add what you like.
Well, you won't be able to.
This is the BBC.
What I like.
There was a time, for over 100 years, the BBC has meant something to people all over the world. Through World War, through Cold War, in the corridors of power, in the darkness of dictatorship, people heard the words, "This is the BBC." And it stood for something. Truth, honesty, impartiality, inquiry. And yet that legacy, 100 years in the making, has been squandered, hijacked, and corrupted by the people in the building behind us now. Shame on the BBC! We've had enough after 16 months of impartiality. We've had enough of the BBC preaching to us, telling us its truth. And thanks to David Collier, who we'll be hearing from this evening, the mask has finally come right off.
You can give it a go, Sharona.
Because the BBC went through commissioning, scripting, editing, broadcasting, covering up a documentary featuring the son of a high-ranking Hamas official. They spent £400,000 of license fee payers' money. They didn't tell license fee payers what was going on. They spent their money on this propaganda, this long-form propaganda, and that is what the BBC has become. So we're here to say, BBC, stop acting as spokespeople for terrorists. Shame on the BBC! And over the last couple of weeks, we don't even need to go as far back as October 7. Look at how the BBC has covered the horrifying and soul-destroying return of 4 bodies to Israel. Of Shiri Bibas, of Kfir Bibas, of Ariel Bibas, of Oded Lifshitz. It's absolutely disgusting because the BBC hasn't covered it. They've taken Hamas's macabre ceremonies featuring coffins of infant children kidnapped from their homes, locked with keys that were not handed over to Israel, and with those coffins stamped, arrested 7th of October. The BBC don't tell you this. When the BBC learned with the rest of us that Shiri Bibas had not in fact been returned to Israel, that the body of some other person had been returned to Israel, had been sent to Israel, the BBC literally copied and pasted what the Hamas spokesperson said. They said it had been a mix-up. Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame, 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 shame. Terrorist supporters off our screens! Terrorist supporters off our screens! And just look at what the people in the BBC are up to. You may have spotted on X a post from Paul Adams saying that, the BBC's Paul Adams that is, saying that on 7th of October, Gazans busted out of their dismal prison and exacted terrible
Good evening,
revenge.
Attila. I'm at the front, so I can't really speak.
Revenge! Is that what it was? Revenge? The worst anti-Semitic atrocity since the Holocaust? Just the tit for tat? The cycle of violence, as the BBC have fond of saying? Shame on you! Shame!
Shame!
on you!
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Shame on you! Shame! Shame on you!
Shame, shame, shame on you!
And yet the BBC's John Donison has the gall to accuse others of propaganda. He said that the propaganda, as he puts it, by Hamas and Israel over the hostages has been nauseating. That's the BBC view. He apologized for it, he took down the X post, but we know what he thought. Shame on you! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Friends, the BBC has become a mouthpiece for Hamas. It is literally broadcasting their propaganda. It will not call terrorists by their name. It will not do a single decent thing, and we are here to call for the decent thing. There was a time when journalism was a respected profession, when if a journalist commissioned a terrorist organization to make a documentary, they would resign. And people must lose their jobs over this. Make no mistake, people must lose their jobs. Fire them! Fire them! Fire them!
Fire them! Dismantle them!
But meanwhile, they continue to pump out BBC programme after BBC programme and mark their own homework. We say there must be an end to this. The BBC must not be allowed to process its own complaints. All other broadcasters, you can go straight to Ofcom. Why with the BBC do they get to mark their homework first? Enough. End that charade. As Lee Kern likes to say, from the river to the sea, Hamas loves the BBC.
Yeah.
There must be a full, open inquiry. The mask has finally slipped. And to tell us more about the mask slipping, I'd like to welcome the person who is very much man of the moment. I'd like to introduce investigative journalist, apparently mightier than everyone at BBC Verify.
Hi guys. Yeah. There's a lot of people here. I'm more of a, researcher and investigator than I am a speaker, but we'll see how we go. Alright, now listen. You guys obviously know that Hamas are terrorists. Louder? Okay. You guys know that Hamas are terrorists. Europe knows Hamas are terrorists. Our government knows Hamas are terrorists. The US know the government that Hamas are terrorists. Arab states know that Hamas are terrorists. Only these guys in the building behind us have a problem understanding that what we saw on October the 7th was carried out by genocidal Jew-hating terrorists.
Yeah.
And let's not think that this is some kind of accident. In their documentaries, they interview Arabs from Gaza. And the Arabs from Gaza say, we want to murder the Jews. We want to slaughter the Jews. And the BBC, these people in the building behind us, mistranslate it. You can't hear me. Is that better? Are we okay now? Good.
There's
Right.
a lot of people here.
Thank you.
People at the back are struggling to hear.
The people in the building behind us mistranslate the word Jew for Israeli, downplaying the genocidal intent of the people that want to kill us. It's deliberate. when they do this. We are standing outside the building of the biggest spreaders and enablers of anti-Semitism on the planet.
Yeah!
Now look, last Monday,
BBC, shame, shame, 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 BBC, shame, shame.
hey, you guys are very good at this. Right. As you should be. Last Monday, in the evening at 9 o'clock, the BBC published a Hamas propaganda video. 5 days later, they took it down. But let's be clear about this. They didn't take it down because they'd published Hamas propaganda. They didn't take it down because it was full of inaccuracies. They didn't take it down because it mistranslated or it was junk that they didn't want anyone to see. They didn't realise that the children were reading from a script. They took it down because we caught them. And they had no choice and no excuses. They had to take it down. And that is just the first step. Because look, we looked and we found that the BBC had spent £400,000 to a Palestinian propagandist to produce a Hamas video. Now look, I don't have a large research team. I sit in a small room with a computer and a keyboard. I don't even speak Arabic. It took me 3 or 4 hours to find out that the person they used as the narrator for their documentary is the son of a key Hamas minister. 3 or 4 hours. This means that the BBC never bothered to check. They did not even look. There was no due diligence. There was no check. They wanted to rubber stamp the work of a Palestinian propagandist and then spent their time creating promotional videos to make sure that as many people as possible would watch their pro-Hamas narrative. The BBC is siding with Hamas and undermining Israel's right to exist. We caught our broadcaster working with Hamas to make people hate Israel and love the terrorists. They're trying to persuade people to pick up the Palestinian flag and march through London streets calling for the destruction of Israel. Shame on them. It's worse than all this.
BBC, shame, shame, BBC, shame, shame, BBC, shame, shame, BBC, shame, shame, BBC.
Indeed. And it's even worse than all that. Because we know that they followed this 13 or 14-year-old child for weeks. And we also know that there's no way they could have done that without permission from the parents. And we know that the parents are Hamas. Did they pay them? That's the question here. Are we in a situation where the British state television actually paid Hamas to produce? I mean, we have these guys, the police, they should know the people who are in there you need to be looking at. They're the ones that have been actively paying a prescribed terrorist group for years. Actually, no, not for years. For decades. Whoa. See, I almost fell over. Hang on. For decades. Where's nerves? Leave me alone. Right. We have known that the bias was there. The BBC's anti-Israel stance has been pumping anti-Semitism into the veins of this country for decades. Time after time, we caught them giving platforms to hate preachers, to terrorist supporters, and to anti-Semites. And each time they went silent or they gave an unacceptable excuse. Well, not this time, because now the whole nation can see them. The BBC has been corrupted from within and is acting as a mouthpiece for genocidal terrorists who massacre Jews. Everyone can see it now. And it is time to hold them to account. We demand a full, independent investigation. We want to know exactly what has gone wrong inside BBC HQ.
Amen.
How the documentary was produced, why it was even commissioned, and who inside that building is responsible for the blatant, one-sided, anti-Israel junk that the BBC produces day in and day out. And this time, just before I wrap up, and this time, we want full transparency, and we want it public. Those inside these offices behind me who have helped spread the cancer of anti-Semitism can no longer be allowed to work there. We will accept nothing less.
Yeah! I need to get out of here now. Sorry, mate.
Thank you, David!
Out. Excuse me, I'm going to get out now. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to work my way out there, mate. Thanks.
Shame on the BBC!
Sorry, excuse me. There's a large crowd here, it's good.
Friends, I can see
I've been at the front, I'm now going to make my way down the back there. Need to use the toilet.
There's another flag I've just spotted.
Sorry, darling.
Lily,
Sorry.
can you just come up?
Pass on. I'm going to, yeah. I need the toilet.
This is Lily Moo, who is an Iranian peace activist. We say with one voice,
Sorry,
salam.
Oh, this is a large crowd.
Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for coming this evening.
Take it to the back now.
I'm just going to ask everybody to do something for me, which is that if you look behind us, not at the BBC, away from the BBC, you should see somebody on the ladder with a camera.
Where?
And what I'm going to ask for this particular shot is everybody hold their placards nice and high, hold your flags nice and high. Just stay like that for a moment. Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Shame on the BBC!
Terrorist supporters off our screens!
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 Okay, we're just going to go for one more photo now, where if I can ask you, for those who've got a placard, you see there are two sides to it. One has a picture of a BBC employee, perhaps. Could I ask you to put that over your face to almost wear it as a mask?
Right, I'm going to make my way to the back now. There's a large crowd. It's a very, very big crowd. Sorry, mate. I'm just going to get through. I want to get out. Sorry. I've spent most of the last few minutes saying sorry. Oh dear. Let's get out of here. Come on, sorry mate, I just squeezed through there. Look you. Sorry mate. Right, okay, I'm in a better position now. Sorry, bruv. Let's get out here. Thank you.
Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC! Shame on the BBC!
This is a very large crowd. It's great. people feel really passionate about this, and rightly so.
That was because they wouldn't call Hamas terrorists. They still do.
Right, I'm at the back, front, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm at the back. This is Portland Road here. Very posh hotel in the front. Hello, boss.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, thanks. I did get to the very front, but unfortunately, due to my age, I have to use the toilet.
Oh, yeah, like we all do.
So,
like we all do.
Yeah, so I'm at the position.
You're doing very well. I actually spoke before I left at the station,
Yeah.
and then I went straight down to the cafe.
Yeah, I'm going to go in that Costa in a minute. Yeah, I was right at the very front, you know. Okay, Brexit, Brian loves you. Thank you for watching. Defund the BBC. I'm going to call it a day now. Bye now. Brexit, Brian loves you. Thank you for sharing. From outside the BBC.